Fan Man just came in, and I was lauding my clock prowess. And he goes, "You're not on time." I said, "I'm on time." He said, "You're 5 minutes late." I said, 4 minutes late.
Hey.
I said, 4 minutes for us is basically on time.
Oh yeah. What is the saying by the not Brandman saying this, but there's that old like jerk of a boss kind of mentality. Well, if you're 10 minutes early, you're on time. Well,
Yeah.
if you are 5 minutes late, you are on time, Suke.
Yeah, and then he gave me the backhanded BYU compliment where he's like, "I love you guys, I respect you, but I hope you lose." And I was like, "What?"
Yeah, why?
Well, I think he claimed that he doesn't want Oregon to have to go 30 days without playing. Because it is true, like if BYU wins, Oregon will get a top 4 seed. They'll move Texas Tech off that 4 line.
Yes, they
and
will.
then Oregon would have not played in the Big Ten title game, and they get a first-round bye.
Even though conference championships are not supposed to negatively affect you, by the way. So either Texas Tech or BYU will get dinged here.
Well, BYU is going to get dinged for sure.
Yeah.
I
mean, if they win.
I think any of these rules are more like generalities. It's like kind of best practices.
We'll break it when we want to.
Well, and I can see it. Like the idea that like it can't punish you is, I guess, is Texas Tech being punished just by sliding off? Or if you're in the top 4 regardless, like Alabama falling out of the playoff is ridiculous. Like the idea that if Alabama loses, I've heard some people say that Alabama should be kicked out.
Yeah.
That's the dumbest thing in the world.
Oh, that is.
That's ridiculous, because the idea that someone has to play an extra game while 2 other teams sit there and do nothing.
No.
And Alabama has to go play the number 3 team in the country.
Yeah.
And you're saying that somehow that gives them an opportunity to fall out while 2 other teams don't. Now, if you want to move around seeding, that I don't have as much of a problem with. If Texas Tech loses, which they won't, but if Texas Tech loses, I have no problem moving them off the 4 line and giving it to Oregon. That's fine. That doesn't bother me because you're still in the tournament. But I guess I didn't think about that. But that was the Fan Man's rooting against my Cougs simply because you would have, like, if you're Oregon,
month,
then you'd have over a month off before you played that first game. I mean, whoever that would be, which is, I mean, that's not ideal.
No,
I mean, you don't want. I mean, last year you had a time off.
23 or 24.
This
days,
would
right?
be an extra. This would be an extra week because you played in the Big Ten title game, and this year you would not. So it would be a longer layoff this year than the one you had previous.
But can I champion that even if they don't do that and they play that home game in the first round of the playoff, Suke, at Autzen Stadium, they will still be off around 19 to 20 days, right? Like, it's not far off either way. I understand
it's
what
not
Brandman
ideal
is saying.
either way, but I do think the tune-up game, I think the 5 seed, honestly, not playing in the conference title game and then playing the 5-12. I mean, I'm not trying to take anything away from North Texas or James Madison or Virginia or whatever, but like, if you really are a national title team,
the early line for Oregon Tulane is 23.5.
That should just be an ass kicking.
Yeah.
So the idea of getting a tune-up game. Now, Ohio State's tune-up game last year was Tennessee. Now it's different because, remember, Ohio State was the 8, they weren't the 5. But, you know, so I'm not going to say that Tennessee was the tune-up game, but essentially it was for Ohio State. Ohio State just turned out to be that good. And then it was like, oh, by the way, here comes Oregon. And Oregon was everyone was a tune-up game. Ohio State just ran roughshod over everyone. So I do think having a tune-up game against a team that you are 3 touchdown favorites over, I get where that is an attractive thing. I've always been, hey, if you can give me the bye, no one gets hurt, everyone gets to rest up, that makes total sense to me. But I will listen to the argument that a tune-up game that under no circumstances should you lose isn't a bad way to go about it. I just think, especially in a world of attrition, and that's what football is at this point. I mean, look in the NFL. Last night, the Lions, right, beat the Cowboys. And whoever was going to win that game was putting themselves in a position to maybe make the postseason. So if Dallas had won, CeeDee Lamb may be out for an extended period of time. CeeDee Lamb doesn't have any idea where he's at right now. But they didn't. They lost. They're gone. The Lions do win. But Brian Branch, who's the last member of that secondary, still standing. Kirby Joseph has been out with a knee injury. Terrion Arnold's out for the entire year with a shoulder. And if you didn't see this, in like the weirdest one, like I couldn't tell what happened, but Brian Branch tore his Achilles. So, you know, if you're the Lions are a really good team. They just don't have anybody left.
Yeah.
They were trying to go re-sign their retired center, Frank Ragnow. Turns out he had a grade 3 hamstring tear. So they thought they were getting an old lineman back. No, he got a torn hamstring. And now you're down your three best secondary guys. And at some point, like you can't make that happen. If Oregon has to go through this playoff with this receiving core, they're going nowhere. They're just not. And no offense to Malik Benson and the rest of the guys out there, they will not beat the better teams in the country if this is their receiving core. They need Gary Bryant, they need DeCorian Moore, and Godfrey. Like, how about if Evan Stewart were to come back and play? Like, massive shot in the arm. And if you do play that one extra game, what happens if Dante Moore breaks his leg?
Exactly.
What happens if all of a sudden, well, I guess you have like 9 running backs, but let's say one of your better defenders, one of your young, what if Finney goes down or whatever in the secondary?
Yeah, what if you lose Kennedy? What if you lose Dylan Thieneman? Like, that would be a huge blow.
Yes, and those are the sorts of things that it's really hard to overcome and why you need depth. And it's also why if you're Oregon, maybe unlike some of the other teams, and this is like where the Ohio States and the teams have an advantage, it's depth. Yep. When you stack together recruiting classes year after year after year like this, I mean, it's fun stories when we get TCU. They weren't competitive against Georgia. I think Washington was somewhat competitive against Michigan.
I agree. That was a fun game.
I mean, they, in the second half, it looked like you might be able to do something, but Michigan was clearly better.
Yeah.
And when you stack together recruiting classes like this, you're just a deeper team and you can weather injuries. And that's one of the things that Oregon has been able to do. I think Oregon has finally built national championship depth, where if you do get some injuries, you're able to weather it. I mean, they've weathered these receiver injuries. I'm not certain that a couple of years ago that Oregon's able to weather this without an extra loss. I mean, that doesn't mean that you can win going forward with this group against the better competition, but you've weathered the storm. But you got to have some health luck. That's everyone that's ever won a national title or has ever won a Super Bowl. The health component of it is the one thing that we can't predict, and it's random, it's dumb luck, and it can derail you faster than anything. And I think with the Lions, might be the second year in a row that the Lions are done in by injuries. Well, I thought the Lions were the best team in the NFL last year, and I think at one point they had 17 defensive players go on the IR.
And they lost Aiden Hutchinson to start last season. They get him back this year, then they lose everybody else.
Yeah. There's just only so much you can handle.
But with Oregon, Sue, there really is... all right, I hear the argument on a tune-up game, but there really is the concern for me. This isn't week 5 or 6, right? With the injury concern, we're near the end of this road here, and everybody's beat up. I get that you don't want to go a month without playing, but hey, that extra time could get you Gary Bryant Jr. back. That extra time really could get you through to the elite status that you need your players at to play elite opponents in the college football playoff. And if you're talking, well, okay, they are going to play a tune-up game, then it needs to go a certain way. Dante Moore needs to be out by the end of the first half. I want to see Brock Thomas under center to start the third quarter. I don't want Oregon to risk anything.
Look,
even a sprained thumb for Dante Moore, man.
I agree with I have always been the bye guy. I'm just saying, I understand sitting there at the 5. I can understand the argument of not wanting to go to the 4.
Yeah.
If Texas Tech loses, which they won't, I think there will be plenty of Oregon fans excuse me, they do not want to see them bumped up to the 4. I think they're happy to stay at the 5. I also think that the narrative of what happened last year against Ohio State, I think that sticks with people. God, I'm dying.
No, I
think that layoff and what Ohio State did to them, I think that is burned in people's psyche.
It's also Ohio State.
Exactly. I think people are using that the layoff as an excuse.
Well, I have faith that Dan Lanning can learn from
They'll
that
figure
too,
it.
Suke,
They'll figure
right?
it out.
Like, they know what they didn't do.
Yeah.
He didn't really say publicly.
And
he said, hey, we didn't prepare ourselves right. We know that.
And what on the off chance that you run into like a North Texas or something that's an absolute buzzsaw that slings, you just never know. You just never know. So if you can get the bye, get the bye.